Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back again with the next episode of our Amazon Prime Wheel of Time Season 1 ReWOtch. And this time we're watching episode 6, which is The Flame of Valon. We've got 3 more episodes to go, and I'm super stoked to get to season 3 with all of the awesome and exciting content that they've been releasing and teasing us with leading up to it. So I had actually stopped into a local bookstore yesterday to see if I could get my hands on some original Wheel of Time hardcovers to recomplete the ones that are missing from my original set, and I did score a couple and was chatting with the store owner on the way out about how I was sorry not sorry that I was cleaning him out of all of his Jordan. And then he had let me know that up until recently he'd always been able to keep Robert Jordan in stock, but that for some reason he was having a hard time keeping him. And so I said, well, maybe it's because the TV show came out and season 3 is coming out soon, and he wasn't aware there was even a show. So hopefully I've clued one more person into the fact of its existence and coerced them to go ahead and give season 3 a chance, because even I was willing to admit that, seasons 1 and 2 were good, but, maybe a little bit mid in parts, as I've even said during this rewatch. Like I just said, with everything that they're coming out with for season 3, I'm really excited for where it's going and what it holds in store. So with that being said, let's get into episode 6. Ah yes, the Flame of Valon, and so we are opening this episode outside of Tyr to give a little bit of a background into Siuan Sanche and her backstory. And she's one of my favorite characters. Oh my gosh, I know I always say that about everybody, but I really do like Siuan. She's not up there with some of my all-time favorites, but top 10 for sure. And as always, I really do like who they went with for casting and the way she's been portrayed in the show so far.
Up you get, Siuan.
Even though I think I have found some of show Siuan's actions
Stirring, Papa?
Aye. Kissing the
a
sun.
little bit
For
confusing.
breakfast?
Best we catch him then.
Before some other bastard does.
But yeah, as we see here, she really is just a girl of humble beginnings from a poor fishing village outside of Tyr. I love that we get that hint there of the Stone of Tyr looming in the background. So the show is teasing us with the fact that yes, it does exist, because we know that while The Shadow Rising, the next book that season 3 is based on, does take place in Tyr, we're skipping Tyr in the show and going straight to the waste. But I'm hoping that the fact that we are showing it here and hinting at its existence in these first couple seasons means that we are going to get there, and perhaps in season 4 is my prediction that we're just gonna swap it around and he's gonna go to the Aiel first, and then they're gonna help him take the stone.
Siuan.
Nobody saw.
But in Tyr, they are definitely very, not just even superstitious about Aes Sedai, but they are definitely a land region culture that is very untrusting of Aes Sedai and does not really abide their presence well or tolerate them. And so we can see it extends as far as being very wary of not even just men, but also women who are suspected of being able to channel, to the point that this is what they did. They marked her family's door with the dragon's fang, which is normally something reserved for suspected male channelers or maybe just dark friends in general, but yes, it is not considered a good thing. to have the one power here.
Practice your lures and your knots every day.
But I like that we kind of see that her father only has one hand, and yet he's a fisherman, and that it involves a lot of having to use your hands to tie knots and cast nets. And I think we're also seeing that extent to Swan's use of the one power, and as we've seen in this season so far, also Egwene's use of the one power as far as the use of the hands goes when weaving and channeling. And I think we have seen Swan maybe use her hands a little bit less than other Aes Sedai in the show so far, and maybe this could be why, because she knows you can do a lot of things without having the use of all of your hands and your limbs. It doesn't make you any less capable.
I don't belong there.
And in some cases, I would argue, it makes you even stronger because you have to readapt and relearn how to do things.
Look at me. You're gonna do great things. If any of them bastards tries to shame you, you show them who you are. Swan Satcher, daughter of the river.
But I think if I recall correctly, the region of Tyr and the people from Tyr are,
Strong.
you know,
As the tides.
generally more darker complected than some of the other regions, so I do really appreciate that we're seeing that insofar as the future Amyrlin Seat. You know, she is, her and her family are just an accurate representation of the general populace of Tyr, and I think we'll see even more of that hopefully when Rand and company revisit it in season 4. And we open back with Moiraine in her full blue Aja formal garb. Love that she has the, it's not the Kisera, because I think that's the Malkieri thing. So I'll have to remember what it's called with the Kyrianen stone worn on the forehead. But that is, chef's kiss, peak Moiraine, peak book accurate Moiraine. And I love that we're getting the formal speech that the keeper always gives for the entrance of the Amyrlin Seat. And just really, yeah, seeing the full scope of the tower here. I think that they did a really good job with set and costume design for the tower. And it really does seem like true to how I always like pictured the interior in my mind. I love all the like the lace fretwork of the carved stone. And you see the hall of the tower with all of the different Ajas represented by their sitters.
Bring the false dragon.
A very lackluster, downcast looking Logain coming in here. He is not
Why is this man changed?
the powerful man he once was.
Gentle as he is, he poses no threat.
I think definitely a show of strength and power on the Amyrlin's part here, being like, oh, I'm not worried about him, unchain him, he doesn't pose any threat to me.
Logain Oblar. Do you know why you're here?
Do you know what they say about you? Aes Sedai, the further you get from this tower. That you are weak. Weaker than you have ever been.
He's not wrong.
100 years ago, if a man stood up and said
He is kind of speaking
he's
truth.
going to the White Tower to throw the Amyrlin Seat from her throne. But when I said I was coming for you, I had an army at my back within the year. And even your little parade showing off your
So yeah,
pride.
the Aes Sedai have been kind of slowly losing their
You know
grip
what people will remember?
on power. They don't
remember
wield
that
power
one man
directly.
fought.
They've been slowly dwindling in numbers since the breaking. Maybe, largely perhaps, they've been culling male channelers from the populace
Whatever they
since then.
say,
Just saying.
outside this hall, this
But yeah, they also are
city,
not the respected power in Randland
I
that
am
they
also
once
easy.
were. They used to be this very respected authority.
If it's the
They
release
didn't
of
wield
death
power
you seek,
directly, but every
won't
ruler
find
would
it
usually
here.
have an Aes Sedai advisor.
what.
The entire
serve
Grey
as an
Aja
example
is just nothing but
to all
diplomats
other
and
false
diplomacy.
dragons and men who dare to challenge, never free.
But there are places like
Until you
Tyr where
lose
they're not
yourself
accepted and not trusted,
entirely to the
and
madness.
factions now like the White Cloaks that are slowly gaining more and more traction and authority that
judgment.
are very much anti-Aes Sedai.
Kill me. Please kill me. I beg you. No. Kill me. Please. I beg you. Kill me. Please.
And just a little example there
Leandra,
of the waking torment that can
Valon.
be losing your access to the One Power.
Moiraine. Approach.
Oh man, I just have to give all of the kudos and awards to the costume design for the show so far.
The
I
rest of you
mean,
depart now in the light.
all I could really think of when watching Dune Prophecy was that in terms of like caliber of acting, caliber of set and costume
That man
design,
deserved a fair trial
they were
before
like really going toe
the
to
battle
toe.
for justice.
I think Wheel of Time can stand up there with a show like that was so anticipated and lauded and acclaimed. But then the one criticism that I was hearing about Dune Prophecy was like the writing wasn't really standing up, and then in some cases the acting too. So
Gentle
all I could
second,
personally really think while watching that
You
show,
didn't see what he did to her.
especially like the scenes of the novice Bene Gesserit training in the tower, I was just like, honestly, I'd rather be watching Wheel of Time.
I beg the Amyrlin's
If I'm gonna be watching that, I'd
Her
rather be
only died
watching
to
like that
protect us
concept.
because
I'd
she
rather be
knew that
watching
the
it
false
here,
was too strong. Leandrin made the
especially
right
when
choice.
we have costumes and actresses like this. Like I've said, Alana has gone from being one of my least favorite characters in the novels to one of my favorite characters in the show,
If we hadn't
just
seen
because
her, all
of the way
our
she's
sisters would
been
have
written,
killed.
acted, and dressed. Again, we see the bells in her hair to signify
Don't
where she's
exist
from,
to protect
and she's
our
got these like epaulettes, almost like a general,
They
a
exist to
military
protect
general
our
would.
people from
And has
us.
these like almost very military elements
Leandra.
to her styling, but in a
When
very
Gwenny fell, you
eleganza
went to
glam way.
The fault
And I
lies with you,
love
as
the
will the punishment.
Amyrlin's like robe here
thinking
that
of
she's
that.
wearing, where it's not like
You
the
have
stole that we
something
see in the
more to say,
novels,
daughter.
but this almost is
surprised.
the Amyrlin stole here, with the colors representing
care
the
about
different
the girl.
Ajas. But then, and now that I've blabbed enough about that,
When
we already
found
see
her,
here
she was
Leandrin
traveling
trying
with the
to
most
manipulate
powerful
the
channeler
different
we've seen in
factions
1,000 years more powerfully
within the tower
And yet Moiraine
for
said
her
nothing
own
of the girl's
gain
skills. We knew nothing
by throwing Moiraine under the
until
bus.
naive Almira.
Like, you're the one that stilled Logain without approval, but sure, let's talk about Moiraine.
But you must have known she was more than a simple village girl. You must have known she was something special.
I suspected.
That's really neither here nor there, Leandrin. What's your point? I would think the fact that she found one of the most powerful female channelers of the age and has managed
20
to
years?
bring her to the tower
purpose of
would
all
be a
this
huge mark in
is
her
to gather
favorites.
secrets and discover danger before it strikes at the heart of us, before it strikes at you, Mother.
I don't think
Trollocs
that's really
invaded from the
their
west,
stated
And
purpose.
Loghain's army
I think in
swelled
the
from
books
the
it's
south
really
without
just
even any
said that
warning
the
from
blues
Moiraine.
take up and support different causes,
Why?
but like, you know, secretly, not so
Well, I
secretly,
suggest you ask her, Mother.
they're the spies.
This is blue business, Mother.
So I mean,
Look at
I
scrutiny
guess
in this
maybe
hall.
Leandrin's
Business is
correct
judged
that their
here,
job
Megan.
could be to
Unless you're
ferret out
suggesting
different
the Amyrlin
dangers
does not wish
and
to
figure out like
question Moiraine,
what could
because
be causing trouble before it
Mother was once
happens,
blue herself.
and be spying and keeping tabs on things in that way. But the entire Blue Aja as a whole is, you know, kind of very secretive and, yeah, support various
You left the
things,
2 years ago.
but have a
Where
lot
have you
going on
traveled?
under the table.
From Tyr to the Two Rivers, and many towns between.
Still hedging closely to the
purpose?
truth there.
Of your travels.
Forgive me, Mother, I cannot say.
Cannot. Or will not.
It kind of sucks that Swan's being forced to kind of hold Moiraine's feet to the fire here, because they're the only two that know about the dragon being reborn, and that's why, like, Swan had to stay in the tower and get raised to Amyrlin, even though she was the one that really kind of bucked against the reins more
Of your travels.
and hated having to work within the confines of the tower. Whereas Moiraine, ironically, is a Kyrian noblewoman who was raised to play the game of houses and, like, raised
Perhaps it
to,
is your noble blood.
yeah, do all of
Lady
this
Moiraine
scheming
Gallodred.
and, like, would have made a perfect Amyrlin.
For those you consider beneath you.
But because they know what they know,
Outside this tower, it seems you do as you please.
she had to
But
go
I am the
kind of, you know,
Amyrlin
be said to be gallivanting
This is
off,
my
doing whatever she wants,
My
but
city. My
she's on a
world.
secret mission.
From Tyr to the Two Rivers and every town between. Remember that well while you are here. Remember that well when your forehead and your lips touch this marble and you beg your mother for mercy.
Another show of power here from the Amyrlin, because it's hinted at that they like were close growing up, and it's hinted at even more in the novels. And if you read New Spring, the
Depart now in the night.
prequel, that like they were very close as novices, but then the sudden rift formed between them. So I think they definitely play that up in public, but maybe Swan's also bearing a little bit of a grudge against Moiraine for getting to have the freedom that she's had this whole time, while Swan did get stuck on the Amyrlin Seat playing politics. And with the deeper relationship that the show established between them, maybe also hurting a little bit from her absence.
That, like everything else you do, was for your own benefit. You forget.
Alana, why are you always eating in the background there?
Whatever it is you're
Look
up
at
to,
her. Oh my god, like
you should accomplish it.
like 5 stars for background acting there on Alana's part.
Tomorrow your reckoning comes.
And we can definitely see Moraine's eyes and ears as a blue are strong at work here on her home turf,
This is the room.
since
Yes,
she
yes.
already
Go
managed to
downstairs.
track down Matt.
Do not come up, no matter what you hear.
And we see there that at least in the city of Valon, the title of Aes Sedai still commands a great deal of respect and deference.
Nynaeve, you're back already, did you?
Moiraine, you're alive.
Oh, it's nice to see you too.
Gawain, Perrin, are they here?
I have watchers. I'll know when they arrive. How long has he been like this?
A month. Maybe more. It's nothing. It's just a fever.
I know what you're doing here. I know what Aes Sedai do to men like me.
Don't be stupid.
I'm not going to let you hurt
Rand, your lucky land likes you so much, cause, yeah.
He tries.
You pulled a sword on his Aes Sedai like that, boy.
Stay down.
He hasn't channeled. Matt, tell her! He hasn't channeled.
The world doesn't need a dragon like me.
Dang, and now Lan was so busy holding Rand back that Moiraine almost got stabbed with the dagger.
What's happening to him?
Oh, you stupid boy. You took this from Shadow Lagoth.
Matt doing his best exorcist impression here. And ooh, I have to hand it to him for the SFX on this one, with like her literally yanking that darkness out of him like that. And how it's like almost trying to cling to her too. That had me worried for her while this was happening. But I think it's definitely a show of like how strong Moiraine is in the power. That she's able to do this by herself, because it takes several Aes Sedai to completely separate Matt from it. But she's able to do all of that on her own. Alright, so we see here that Lan took the dagger and covered it. And now we know that Matt is not a channeler, so that's good. But he, definitely is still pretty fucked up from that whole experience. Alright, look out. See if anyone spots any Pattern Fanes lurking around in the wide shots.
Thank you.
He's stronger than he has any right to be. If you weren't, that dagger would have consumed him weeks ago. You have to be careful. You have to watch him. I've healed him of his connection to the dagger.
And they're
He's feeding
really
with the
emphasizing
darkness
this
in him,
aspect in the show, and like really hyping it up that like, oh, Matt, out of all of the other Emmons Fielders, has the most darkness already within him. He's the one that's most easily able to be manipulated and like fall to the shadow out of everyone else. I guess maybe just because of
Your pride
his
would have killed your friend.
harsh upbringing and his natural inclinations towards self-loathing.
I suggest you start using some.
I guess maybe just to add that like extra dramatic effect in the show and kind of give Matt's character more interest in these early seasons before he takes on his more interesting aspects later in the novels, which I'm also super excited that we are going to be getting some fulfillment on that front as far as season 3 goes. So now we've cut here to a scene of Moiraine in a bathhouse meeting with the sitter for the blues.
I wish you'd take meetings in the tower like the rest of us.
I've been on the road for
Yeah,
years.
can you
and I
really
don't
blame
regret
Moiraine
this.
for not wanting to take meetings in the tower where literally everyone has eyes and ears watching?
Time is limited.
At
don't
least
enjoy
here
wasting
you
it
can
imagining
maybe be
your fate
reasonably
after that
sure that you'll
splainin
be
hole.
alone and unheard.
Swan's losing her grip.
On sanity or power.
A green spoke on behalf of a red today, and so did you. The whole world's
So
gone
yeah,
mad.
you can see here it's
Ships
already
are disappearing off
strange
the west coast.
for women
While
of
you have
one
been
Aja
spotted
to
inside of
be
the spine.
aligning with
Trollocs
women from
invaded the two
another
rivers,
Aja, especially
and
where
an
the
Aes
Reds
Sedai
are
sank
concerned.
the Tavern Ferry.
So the tower is
Your
already
informant
not
network has
whole.
improved.
They are
We'll
not
send
of
one
one
on your behalf
mind.
as
They're
recompense.
not inclined to work together on
How
things.
exactly did the Trollocs
So
reach the two
that's
rivers
not going to be a very
undetected?
good breeding ground for
The Amyrlin is not
working with
alone
the
in
dragon
wondering
toward the last
exactly what
battle.
you're doing out in the wilderness.
I brought her the most powerful channeler in living memory, for one.
Hate her all you want, but Swan Sanchi was once a blue. We owe her our protection and loyalty. Old alliances are shifting and we must present a united front.
It would be nice
I'll
if
intervene
the
with
entire
behalf.
tower could see
Make
it
us
that
see
way,
reason.
of needing to
And your values.
present a united front.
We need you here in the
But
tower.
even Logain and
For what reason?
I may need to go west.
people
to
who
track
live
ship's
far from the tower are
disappearances.
kind of able to see
You've
that
travelled
that's
long
not
enough.
always the case.
Time to settle down,
They're
Moiraine.
slipping.
Make yourself comfortable. Get home again. More secrets?
She dropped a flower. But again, we were seeing there that the blue sitter really wants to rein Moiraine in and have her back at the tower because they need the blues to be united against the other Ajas. Swan is a former blue, and a lot of the members of the other Ajas have not forgotten that, so they're going to be inclined to see her as favoring the blues over others. So yeah, Swan is kind of sitting on an uneasy seat herself right now to maintain her grip on power, even within the White Tower itself, let alone the entire country.
How long do you think they've
Now
been here?
Moraine's here with some yellow
I sent a message as
sisters
soon as I saw them.
and has her eyes and ears who have tipped her off to the arrival of the others.
Moiraine. Rand and Matt, are they
I
here?
have people watching for their arrival. But I have it on good authority that they're alive.
Yeah, because you saw them, so we see her bending the elves there, even with
My
Egwene.
sister said you were taken by white cloaks.
Didn't really speak any lies there. She had people watching for their arrival. And she has it on her own good authority that they're alive. I love that we're already seeing these hints that Egwene is not only a very strong person, in addition to being a very strong channeler, but already has this sense of
Valda won't hurt any more of your sisters.
righteous indignation and loyalty for the Aes Sedai to go so far as to snatch these rings from Valda and return them.
There are no greater healers on earth.
So I
than
think
the Aes
that's a
Sedai
lot
of
of
Valon.
really good character building and character foreshadowing for her later growth.
I'm worried about him. His eyes. When Valda was torturing him, they went golden. Like a wolf's.
Did anything else unusual happen?
I wonder if
attacked
that
the White Cloaks
flower she dropped was hinting that this scene
But he
took
wasn't afraid
place
of them.
before the bathhouse scene.
It's like they
And she picked up the plant
listened
here,
Tell no one.
and the secret was coming
Many
here
in the
to see
city,
these
Aes
other
Sedai
two.
included, who would do him harm if they knew.
And then she went to meet
See the
with
dragon?
Megan.
There's
Yeah, she went to
truth
meet with
in every
Rand,
one
and then
dragon
met
born.
with Egwene,
What shape
and then
she or
went
he will take,
to the
what
bath.
power they will wield. Tomorrow, when I call for you, come. But tell no one where you're going.
Aes Sedai, plots within plots within plots. That is book accurate, Moiraine.
You
This is
must
Moraine's
hold on.
rooms in the tower. They definitely seem very sparsely decorated,
at
which
least
I think
2
is also a
years.
testament to how often
Thought
she
you'd
frequents
welcome
it
the break.
in the last 20
This place
years.
isn't as safe as it once was.
But
Everyone's
if even
watching.
Lan is saying that like she's not safe in the tower, then I think that is also really a testament
safe here,
to
Moiraine.
just how bad things
I
have
can
gotten.
protect you.
That an Aes Sedai wouldn't
can't
feel
feel you.
safe in her own rooms
You're right.
in the White Tower.
Well, that's fast.
It's
Our
pretty
enemies are
bad.
everywhere. Your priority has to be protecting our friends from the Two Rivers. Now we finally have them back. Good night, Lan.
Be back before dawn.
Is that an order?
Did it sound like a suggestion? I'll stand watch until you return. Give him my love.
I love this little hint at Terangriel that we get here, especially the use of like Terangriel that are created for a specific purpose. Though I wonder if it's creating a doorway into a real place that they meet somewhere. And they just each have one that goes to the same place. Or if they're meeting in Talaran Riyadh, the world of dreams. Yeah. Of course, Swan Sanche, daughter of tears, spends her time weaving fishing nets.
What were you thinking?
And I do like that we get this deepening of the relationship between
I'm
these
on
two
a knife edge
characters
here,
in the show that wasn't in the
display you
books.
forced me to put on has made everything we're trying
It
to
was
do much harder.
hint-
Don't smile.
It was hinted at that they
Just give me
were
a sort of
pillow
idiot
friends as
face.
Am
novices,
I forgiven?
which was kind of a common thing in the White Tower for girls to have, you know, kind of friends with benefits type of relationships, or experiment a little, or just be like very close because they're isolated with no contact with the outside world, let alone the opposite sex. But that it would kind of be something that they would, for the most part, grow out of.
No love of one's own.
But I like that it's not just seen as
When have we ever
something
followed
casual or that you outgrow, and that we're taking a much more modern and mature stance on it in the series, with having them still have a relationship as adults and getting to see that. Because it really does make for even more interesting public versus private relationship dynamics between them, since in public, Swan has to be the Amyrlin Seat, impartial,
You've been gone such a long time.
and not play favorites with any blue sisters, especially one that she's really close with, like Moiraine. So maybe that's why it's just like so much of a 180 when they're in public, and why they have to really play it off like they don't like each other to try to hide even more the fact that it's really not like that in private.
What's wrong?
Because yeah, if this got out and like people like Leandrin heard wind of it, that would be it.
The girl from the Two Rivers.
Perhaps. It's complicated. I found 5 potential dragons in the same village.
5?
But only 4 the right age. And Nynaeve's too old. But how can we discount her power? I don't know. Every town has a different
So
legend
yeah, we're
about
getting
where the
some
dragon will
further
be born,
modeling
how they
in
will
the
raise
show
us,
versus the
way in which
books.
they'll break or save the world.
Our prophecies are clear.
They're 3,000-year-old prophecies. They've been translated
As
again
far
and
as
again
who
by
the
hundreds
dragon
of
could
different
be.
eyes.
In the
From
novels,
Keen, I
it's, you know, pretty strictly
last
going to be
dragon
another
was one
dude.
man. Why would the wheel split the dragon's soul into many?
Whereas here they're opening it up to girlies as well.
You were there.
And
You were there when
I have said that I do like that we're lumping Egwene in as a Taviran here, because she's not in the novels, but she might as well be for the impact that she has overall.
Together. If another sister finds out what we're doing, we'll be stilled.
You think I've forgotten that? Well, say something.
Will. When your spikes retract. You little pufferfish.
I'm going that she calls Moiraine a little puffer fish.
You can't get away with that every time.
Because in the novels, Moiraine is a little short girl like me. She's like notoriously short-statured, which kind of makes it hard sometimes for people to take her seriously.
If it's 1 dragon or 5, man or woman, the heart
Yeah, I
of
can
every
definitely see
prophecy is
Swan
the same.
calling her a little puffer
The
fish.
dragon will either defeat the Dark One or join him.
I'll kill them myself before I let him hunt them.
Good.
What aren't you telling me?
My dreams. They started a few months ago, and the last few weeks, every night I see the same thing. Dark One. At the eye of the world. He's weak.
The Dark One at the eye of
Barely
the
clinging to his
world.
power, but getting stronger every day. We can destroy him.
So I think we can definitely
We have the
conclude,
advantage. We know where he is. We don't know which one
knowing
of them
what
is
we
the
know
third.
now,
We'd be sentencing the other four to certain
that was
death.
definitely
Maybe,
Baal
maybe not.
Zaman,
Whoever
aka
comes between
Shamael,
the Dark One will die.
messing with Swan's dreams
You know that.
in the world of dreams, or using Teleron Riyadh to put ideas into her head and mess with her
Tomorrow when they
dreams.
sentence me, it must be exile.
So he's planting this
Why?
idea
Maigen's
that
ordered
they
me to
need
stay
to
in the
go
tower.
there, and that he's weak.
I thought we'd have more time.
It's like, yeah, more like the seals on his prison,
We
are
always
we?
think that. Don't we? One day we will. In this life or the next. Rest.
I think I can sleep now.
Although I'm really starting to worry about the fate of Swan Sanche in the show. Because we know what's going to happen if you're a book reader to Moiraine down the line.
I put him in your bedroom.
And with how much they've
Matt?
been tied together and
Enough to be
intertwined in the
drowning himself in
show,
Can he
I
ride?
wonder if their fates will be
Matt
intertwined as well.
Was that his name, yes? Same boy you visited at the Light's Blessing yesterday. Strange how he and his companion, is it Rand, are also from the Two Rivers. Along with the two strangers now Spectre Health by our yellow sisters.
And so we can see Leandrin has her own eyes and ears working hard, and she has already picked up on a lot of shit. She knows Rand's name already, and that's not good.
I know about the man you meet in North Harbor. Walk away.
But I do love that we're seeing book accurate braids in Leandrin's hair in this scene.
We both know what they'll do to you.
I can't remember off the top of my head what culture that
What should I
is.
expect?
He's very upbeat.
I can handle that.
Tarabon. She's a Taraboner, I believe. Is where they wear the
Glory to
braids.
the builders. You honor me. I am Moiraine Seat.
Loyal, son of Arendt, son of Valon. Your name sings in my ears. Moiraine Seat.
Thank you for coming. You must forgive the abruptness of my message.
I will say I was surprised to receive it, and the haste at which I was encouraged to respond, even for a human.
It is a failing of our kind, I do admit. But the wheel has presented us with a crisis, and at the same time, perhaps a way to surmount it. But I'll need your help.
Surprised she's willing to even have that conversation with Loyal in the tower, with how everybody be spying.
Welcome to the Hall of the Tower. It's funny, I wore exactly the same expression when I first saw this room.
Ooh, such foreshadowing for Egwene staring at the Amyrlin Seat.
The Amyrlin Seat itself.
Isn't that confusing? To have the woman in the throne name the same thing?
Feel free to ask her. The Amyrlin Seat has requested an audience with
Yeah,
you.
the Amyrlin Seat is not just a thing.
But first there's
It is
someone
a
else who wants
person,
to
it is
see
a
you.
title, it is a way of being and carrying oneself.
Nynaeve. Egwene.
I thought you were dead. So did the Trolloc that took me.
What are you doing here?
There's a lot to catch up on, I know. But the Amyrlin's expecting us.
Let her wait.
Swan Sanche waits for only one woman. And it's not you.
I love that little quip. I do feel like this episode is a lot more cohesive in terms of incorporating the Aes Sedai tower plots and like the extra plot lines that they've introduced for the show purposes with the book plots and characters, and like weaving everyone back together in a cohesive way. So yeah, we're just getting more of the Emmons Fielders in this episode, so I like it.
Welcome to the White Tower. I'm the Amyrlin Seat.
I love that we're getting this swan here, trying to like present a very humble version of herself, very non-intimidating. Just wearing this like very casual robe that almost looks like
I've been told you're the
like a burlap sack, to be honest, but
we've seen in
making it look
1,000 years.
elegant.
Naive
and pulling it off, like burlap sack but elevated. Yeah, I like that we're getting that little glimpse of the real swan behind the Amyrlin Seat.
Bravery and
with that laugh.
Brought the great
being like, I like you, Nynaeve. You got moxie.
I thank you.
Now that you've blown smoke up our ass, why don't you tell us what you want?
Nynaeve definitely not in awe of the woman or the title.
I know what it is to feel that you deserve something different than what this life gives you.
And you can see she's wearing an Aes Sedai ring there.
Stay at home.
But I wonder if there's just no stone
Love
in
the people
it?
you
Or
love.
if she has her
Grow
own
old
special
with them, protect
stone?
them, support them. Threads weaving in and out of the pattern without consequence. But the truth is, the two of you have been called to greatness. The fate of all of us rests on you now. On the decisions you make in the coming days. On the strength you find within.
Don't talk to me like you know me. We want no part of this.
The wheel does not care if you are young or
Yeah, I
afraid.
don't know you, bitch. I'm just telling you the facts.
Weak. It certainly doesn't care what you
No,
want.
you're Taviran. It doesn't matter if you want to be part of this or not. You're Taviran. You're part of it.
Whether you can bear it or not. The last battle is coming.
And I think she was speaking from personal experience there. Because, yeah, like, she didn't want the title of Amyrlin. She was
The only
kind
thing
of
that matters
forced into it by
what you do.
circumstances of life and the pattern.
So what do we need to do?
So she had to step into that role. And again, Egwene just like, okay, say no more. I'm in. What do I gotta do? This is why I stand her.
It's time. I'll stand in the hall with you if you want.
I'll be all right. Thank you. Just make sure they're there.
Plots within plots again. Like, Moiraine, what you up to? Very breathtaking cinematic scene there. Moiraine looking out over the river. Perhaps, maybe knowing it's going to be her last glimpse from within the tower for a while, since she knows what's coming.
On your feet, Moiraine Sedai.
Because like I said, they've got to really play up this rift between them in order to hide the real nature of their relationship and hide what they know she's really been about for these last 20 years, hide what her real mission has been. Kiss the ring.
For your disobedience and intractability, you are exiled from this tower.
And we can see them cutting to Megan there as she
To ensure
announces
your
Moiraine's
acceptance
exile,
of this
because
you will swear fealty
it's
to
what
the
they
judgment
have
of
to
this
do to make
on the
sure
sacred
Moiraine isn't snared up and caught up in the Aes Sedai Aja politics of it all, because they wanted to find a way to keep her in the tower, but she needs
Swear
to be
your
a free
oath,
agent to
Moiraine
go
Seat,
do what she gotta do.
before your sisters in this sacred hall.
So they're playing
The
it out
one
like this is her
power
punishment,
makes it
but
unbreakable
really it's
and
just
eternally binding.
Swan making sure Moiraine is free to do what she gotta do. But I'm really not sure how I feel about this here, with her having to re-swear oaths on the oath rod, because I feel like in the novels that is just not done. You swear your 3 oaths, and that's it. And like swearing an oath of fealty to a specific person
Swear to obey the judgment of
is
the
just kind of taboo and a no-no and like a big overreach of power.
May the Creator's face
So I'm wondering if this is going to come back to bite Swan in the ass at all.
By the light and the hope of my salvation and rebirth, I, Moiraine Seat, do swear to honor and obey Swansage, daughter of the river, clever as a pike.
I wonder if anyone else is listening to her being like, this is like suspiciously, specifically, and personal. Like you guys weren't friends, but y'all were acting oddly emotional.
Or may my Creator's face turn from me, and darkness consume my soul.
Yeah, even with her altering the words there slightly to make it so she's only loyal to Swan and not Amyrlin in general, I don't know. Just personal oaths of loyalty and fealty on the oath rod is just like a really no extreme thing when Elida does it later on down the line. So I feel like it's kind of lessening the impact of that to have Swan doing it here.
And leave this tower.
Now we see her visibly being, I don't know why I said it that way, we see her being shunned by all of the other sitters in the hall. Like she hasn't just been exiled. We're going like full on Amish community banishment here, where like, yeah, everyone's turning their back on her and can't even look at her anymore. So you're not just exiled, you're fully banished. Fully, like, full shunning. Shun the non-believer. Like the kind of look of disbelief on Alana's face. They're like, wait, what? Yeah, I do like that we're featuring so much of Alana so early on. She kind of just seemed to like traipse in and out of the novels out of nowhere and on a whim, and we didn't really get to know too much about her. Moiraine wasting no time here. He has business to attend to. Time is of the essence. Definitely a derivation from the way the Waygates are depicted in the novels, where they usually have like actual doors that you have to unlock with a physical key.
Builder, thank you for honoring your promise. Are you alone?
I kind of wish we'd gotten more scenes with Loyal meeting the other Two Rivers folk. Like, I wanted to see him going to the tower and finding Nynaeve. I would have liked to have seen, like, get more of him and Rand and interacting with the others in the city. Yeah, a little bit more. I would have liked to see some of those scenes that played out off screen.
You look like
He played out on screen.
Feels good to see you.
But here's where we kind of start to have some issues with the show, just because of unfortunate extenuating circumstances, which I'll get into here in a minute.
There will be time
For right now, we're seeing very warm and tender reunions between everybody. They've been separated and worried everyone else was dead this whole time. But then we're gonna see things kind of switch up here pretty fast. And maybe seemingly out of nowhere.
What are you doing?
They would not survive the ways.
What do you mean? What? Insert that clip. Jennifer Lawrence.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean they won't survive? What does that mean? Where are we going?
But none of us will follow you blindly. Not without answers to our questions.
We've all heard of the ways and stories, but none of us know what they are.
Ancient pathways, out of time and space. One step in the ways could be 100 miles in our world. One breath, the equivalent.
It's the fastest road to the Eye of the World.
And what's there? At the Eye?
The Dark One's prison. Where he was trapped by the last dragon at the cost of almost everything. And now one of you will finish the job you started.
I think that's fake news.
You don't know who's
Yeah, or at least it's, not book accurate news. Eye of the World is something completely different in the novels. But I can see why they're changing plot points as far as that's concerned, because Eye of the World is very different from the tone of the rest of the series.
If we turn back here.
And Eye of the World, and the Eye of the World specifically, was definitely just, like a plot device that we never really see or hear of again. Just like a one-time thing. That isn't really important for later books or plots, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other if we tweak it a little bit.
And when a new age comes, it will be built upon the ashes of the places and people we love.
Now, here we can see you have to channel to get access to the ways, but there has to be another way to get in. Because the Trollocs are using it, as we see later, Haddon Fane is using it, and I'm curious how it's going to play out for Season 3 plot lines, because Loyal is going to go off to try to close a waygate that's outside of the Two Rivers, which he obviously can't use the One Power to do himself. So there's gotta be other ways to access it than just channeling. It definitely doesn't look like anywhere I want to be.
Is it too late to change my mind?
I wonder if
there's no
that was
turning
also
back.
like some
Whatever
foreshadowing
happens now is beyond
for what happens in the show and in IRL with this version of Matt.
The wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
Yeah, she said the thing. Moiraine said the thing she always says in the books. I do really like the way they designed and depicted the ways. Did a good job depicting like the spooky pathways through pitch blackness, and then added this like lightning effect to kind of illuminate it, but creepily. Here's where we unfortunately have to deviate from the novels in a big way. Due to the sudden and unexpected departure of Barney Harris, who was the actor playing Matt for season 1. Unfortunately, this show came out in 2020, and so it got really heavily impacted by the pandemic. And one of the, I think, extenuating circumstances that happened as a result of just that, and whatever other reasons that we have no way of knowing, and, you know, personally, I don't want to pry into, but the actor chose to leave the show toward the end of filming, and so they were not there. I think filming had to take a break because of COVID, and they chose not to return once filming was allowed to resume. And so the writers had to really scramble to rewrite a lot of the last 2 episodes, including the season finale, because of that, and just because of like new filming restrictions due to COVID. So it just really impacted the end of season 1 for better, or sadly perhaps more for the worse. So they had to write around the sudden departure of Matt's character, which impacted a lot of the storyline, not only for the end of this season, but also for the next season. But I will say that I do personally think that Donald Finn has done a fantastic job of portraying Matt, and as I have been fond of saying, like, the Matt is really matting for me with him, and I think just maybe because of the show writers doing a better job of giving him better dialogue and story in the next couple seasons, but also just kudos to him for really just portraying Matt in a way that was just more aligned with how I always perceived Book Matt to act and behave. And I think, you know, part of that is also just that, you know, he wasn't being tainted by the dagger and things like that. He's spent more time away from home now, so perhaps, like, the homesickness is affecting him less. But yeah, you know, he still has things that he's wrestling with in season 2, but I just really have to hand it to Donald for stepping in and really taking over the role with gusto and doing a great job. We'll see how this plays out in the next 2 episodes, but for now, I'm gonna leave this one off here, and until next time, stay classy.